George Santos. Oh, George Pinocchio Santos. Date of birth is June 22nd, 1988, in Queens, New York, or at least that's what we believe to be true. Now, for those of you who practice astrology and want to have a little fun, try plugging this into your calculations. Try a 5:05 a.m. birth time. So the thing with George is we don't have a lot of information that we know is factual. Woohoo! Talk about a creative relationship with words and the truth. And there's a lot of explanation for this. We're going to do that. Actually, a whole dedicated chart to George and his pathologically lying ways, or I'm sorry, alternate facts. But for now, what I want you guys to look at, there's some interesting things come off the chart immediately. The first thing is with a 5:05 birth time, he's going to have Alhika, the fixed star Alhika, or the bull, taking the bull by the horns, the bull breaker, right? The horn breaker on the ascendant. He will have a Sun Chiron conjunction in that first house. So those two things together indicate somebody who's a bit of a bully. With maybe even a fractured or unstable sense of identity, interestingly. Now, the thing I want you guys to consider is when we're looking at this, also, this chart has a very, very strong and dominant Mars, which is not what he looks like. If you look at this little doughboy, he looks like literally an overgrown toddler. He looks like the like a cartoon character, Richie Rich. Anyway, there's nothing Mars about him. He's got like the pretty boy, like well manicured, over preened face. Like this is somebody who spends a lot of time giving themselves facials, and making sure his eyebrows are just so. Like he's more vain than a woman could ever be. So there's that, right? Very almost Virgo Libra, but excessively so. And he's soft and doughy and like clearly loves a comfortable life. There's nothing Mars about this character, and yet the chart is Mars dominated, which suggests that he is, a bit of a bully, right? Very much about having his own way, right? Now, the other thing with him is this chart ruler then becomes Mercury, which will be retrograde, and also conjunct Venus, which will also be retrograde, both of these on the fixed line regal and in the 12th house. So I just want to say something here with Alhika and this emphasis with Venus attached to it, and both of those, of course, are squaring Mars, right? So Mars, with these two planets squaring Mars in Mars in the angular house, is going to give him a very passive aggressive approach to things. He doesn't like confrontation. So he's very aggressive, but in the nasty, sneaky ways, right? This is not somebody I'll ever turn my back on. Because he looks like a toddler. He's as aggressive as a pit bull. These are the scary ones because you don't see him coming. The other thing is with Alhika rising, it's a very Taurian quality. And what will happen is the way he responds to things, because he wants to do things, he's like a spoiled child. He wants to do things his way and only his way. And if he can't get his way, he's just not going to do it at all. So what will happen with that strong Taurus energy, when they decide that you're trying to get them to do something they don't want to do or move in a direction they don't want to go, the way they fight back is by squatting or literally taking root wherever they happen to be and hold that position and like refusing to budge. They will literally cut their nose off to spite their face while they refuse to budge. Mitch McConnell has a ton of Taurus in his chart, and that's the only thing Mitch McConnell is good for, is basically obstructing everything and being a giant obstacle for everyone, literally until he gets what he wants. That's what all that Taurus will do for you, man. They will sit their behinds down and say, oh, all right, fine, I'm not going to move at all. Go around me if you can. So that's what we've got with George here. Now, George also, interestingly, has a T-square with a Sun Chiron conjunction at the first house. And we are familiar with first house suns because Meghan Markle has a first house sun. So we know that personality type and what that drive for attention and being the most important person in a room like expresses itself as, because it is a compulsive need to be the center stage. Like they must be the most important person in whatever environment they're in, right? It's the first house, Aries house, with the sun there. So, but he's got a Sun Chiron conjunction. We'll talk about that. I'm going to do a whole video about George. We'll talk about that. But it's involved in a T-square with Saturn, Uranus, Neptune on one side in that 7th house, and that moon setting up the leg of the T-square at 0 Libra, which is on the Aries point at 0 Aries. So this indicates that fame, he was at some point in his life, he's definitely going to get recognition and fame, and boy howdy, he's getting it now. Nobody is ever going to forget his name. Oh my God. The other thing is that he pulls in some interesting characters in terms of relationships and partners, right? So, and this gets into a whole big box of black spiders. So, he has said that he's gay, and then of course he was married briefly, but it's entirely possible that was a marriage of convenience. And as far as him being gay, he could be opportunistically gay, meaning that pretty much women won't touch him. So men are the next best thing. And he'll, rather than being gay, what is it, gay for pay, he's gay for whoever will take him. Just saying. Or he may actually be gay. I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's attracted to overgrown toddler looking men. So if you're an astrologer, have a little fun. Type in his birth date with the 5:05 a.m. time and see what you get for predictive work. We're going to look at his solar returns for 2016 and this year, because it's been an interesting ride. There's definitely some stuff in that closet, and let's see if we can get astrology to tease some of that out. All right, so that was it. This is Miss Jenny. I am your astrologer, and this is Primal Girl Wellness and Down with Astrology, and we'll talk to you soon.